Welcome everyone. We have another Starfield Outpost video. This one is focused on the basics of manufacturing. So you take all your resources in and you start crafting things. You can do it manually or you can automate it so that you can go off world, do whatever, then come back, grab all your stuff and then go sell it or use it for crafting. One of the big questions I always see is, hey, is Outpost worth it, worth the time? I think it is if one, you have fun, and two, if you just want some passive income. You're not going to make an absolute outrageous amount of money unless you make a huge, large-scale operation and kind of cheese things, such as waiting. It makes everything go quicker and game time, but I don't like doing that. I don't know. I just like playing the game how slowly. I'm barely into the story and level 42. But yeah, let's back to the topic, which is just manufacturing basics. So I do want to. I want to start with. We go to the outpost building, toggle view, and the first step is the simple fabricator. This is the easiest kind of automated piece of machinery. You don't need any perks. I've invested heavily in the outpost management and engineering and all that stuff, but this one you get for free. You don't need to invest anything. But first step is always to do that. You do need some resources up there and power, but nothing hard to find. Tungsten might be the hardest thing to find, but you can always just buy it at most vendors. So first step, I just want to get a simple fabricator down and find what I want to make. Knowing what to make dictates like what kind of storage you need, what resources you need, and it kind of sets up like this supply line. So this video I'm going to make two different things, just a very basic and then kind of a more advanced thing, just to show how you can scale up. So first one, easiest thing is probably this adaptive frame. You just need iron and aluminum. So you can find both those in one base. Like this base right now, it strats both those. So I could make a bunch of these. So iron, aluminum, both are solids. So let's go back to build some storage stuff. There it is. So storage. What I like to do, it makes it easier, is to have one for each type of resource. So iron and aluminum, and I could fill these one of three ways. One is to take your extractor. This one's doing iron and make an output link directly to the bots. And then you can do the same thing with the, that one's beryllium. Same with aluminum. Throw the aluminum over here, make another output link. So then these start filling up. There's already 8 and 11. Already filling up those. So let's go back to our toggle view. And so step number 2, once these start filling up, is to actually link them to the fabricator. So create an output link there, link it there, and link it here again. So right now, these are feeding resources here. And since there is a default for this, it needs to make something. It was already adaptive frame, so it's already making them. If you want to make something else, you just go to something else and select A on a controller. and it will start automatically making them. This fabricator has a certain amount of like internal storage. You push X on it, you can see it has 18. It can hold 18 mass. So it's gonna make a few of these until it hits that limit, maybe 10 or so. But if we want to mass produce it, of course, we're gonna need a storage. It is a warehouse. Warehouse is what stores the manufactured goods. I usually just like to flow it this way. So I'll put it here. And then go to modify view. And now you output it from here to your warehouse. So let's see how that looks. If you go up to here, there's no more adaptive frames in here. They all went in here. And again, these small ones don't hold a lot, 90 mass. So you'll be able to get whatever 90 divided into 101.6. So I don't know, 50 adaptive frames, which then you can go and sell them. You'll sell them more than if you sold straight the same amount of pieces of aluminum and iron. So you do make a little bit of money. Again, like I said, it's just all passive. It looks like you will hold about 45 of these frames. All passive. You just go do whatever, piracy, smuggling, missions, and come back here, grab these, and then whenever you go do some mission at someplace as a vendor, just drop them off, and there you go. You got some credits. So that is the simplest way to do it. One thing I do want to do, just to kind of show how it scales up, is to make something else. Here, it's nice that it shows on this list the mass and the value, so you can kind of see, is it worth building? Like if I was just to compare these two, just a mass and a value, not including resources, you'd want to do the comm relay. One, it's less mass, but it's also, more importantly, it's more value. It is somewhat harder to make. So I mean, this one just needs iron, nickel, and reactive gauge. Reactive gauge down here is just aluminum and copper. So really, in total, it needs aluminum, copper, iron, nickel, which are all fairly easy. You can probably get those from 2 outposts. But this comm relay, let's make this. So it needs actually 2 manufactured items. You can sometimes find these in bases that you loot laying around. So you'll need an ISO-centered magnet. So you need nickel and cobalt. Okay, so that's one, and then the Tal grade, rheostat, and then copper and beryllium. So copper, beryllium, nickel, cobalt. We'll make that. So I'm gonna change this one to this first one. So doing so, sometimes it will break those output links, which is fine. We have to remake them anyways. I'm gonna kind of empty my stuff. Here as well. So I'm gonna go up here, and since I don't need this iron and aluminum, I'm going to delete the input stuff. And since I'm here, I'm gonna kind of prepare for the next step. Since we're making 2 manufactured things and we need 4 different solids, I just scale up. And again, I'm gonna double one for each of these and make a second fabricator, and then I'm gonna make a second warehouse. They like to stick. Move it manually. Okay, so this output's gonna be here to this one. So it was always two materials to each fabricator. And then whatever gets made goes there. That one already has a link. That one goes there. And then, as you can see down in the thing, each fabricator you make needs some power. I don't have enough. So I'm just going to make some more, another solar dome. Again, you can, if you don't invest in it, you might just have the smaller solar arrays. So yeah, so next step is to make sure we put the right materials for each of these. So this one, nickel, cobalt. Okay. So I have some either in my inventory or in my ship's inventory. Go here, and again, you could make it either from the extractor, can go directly to here. Extractors can go here. You could have your cargo links over here. Your cargo links that come in, you could run a line all the way over to the storage to fill each of these, or you can manually fill them. Manually is my least favorite option, but I just don't have the links set up yet. This is kind of a new base. I haven't brought in all the copper and all that stuff, so I just have it in my thing. So this one needs nickel and cobalt. So I'm going to store a whole bunch of it in there. This one needs nickel. Put that in there. So now this one's going to automatically start making them. Start making a bunch of these that has the materials being fed into it, and it's going to start spitting them out into there like it's already made two. So let's do the same thing on this side. Again, comm relay, we need the tal grade, so we're going to make it. This one needs copper and beryllium. There's beryllium. And copper. So now this one is now making this kind of sub-component. Wait till one of them gets made. Oh, so yeah, I didn't link these. That's why I wasn't getting to it. Link these. Oh, because when I made the links and then I went in and changed the fabricator settings to make that new thing, so it broke those links. But that's what happened. All right, so now these are getting made right there. So the next step. So we got the subcomponents. Again, you could just take these. They sell more than those adaptive frames that we just made, so you could just sell a bunch of these if that's how you want to do it. And now, but we want to make comm relays. They are used in quite a few different components. So now that we have those two subcomponents, I'm going to make another fabricator and another storage thing that these final components are final comm relays are gonna go into. So learn from our mistake. Don't link up anything yet. And make comm relays. Go back into this. Make our connections out to the warehouse. Because again, these are manufactured items again. So that's why we're just doing warehouses, not any solids or anything like that. So now these should be getting some comm relays. So now these sell for quite a bit. They don't weigh too terribly amount of mass. So there you go. That's a quick and simple, just kind of supply line. It does require some startup, but again, if you just buy the starting materials, it doesn't do too much. Otherwise, just all these resources are pretty common. You can do that. If you want to take it one step farther, you could just have all 4 of these linked to one of these and one of these, and maybe have one of these be a warehouse. It would just require a little bit of all 4 of these would go to one. You would make one of the subcomponents. It would spit it out to a warehouse. And then you would go into here and switch what is being made. It's going to break the links, re-hook all these back up again. It'll then make the second subcomponent to the same warehouse, and then link the warehouse to back to here. So then it could make a comms relay. So you could do it. It's just if you have the resources, might as well just make it so that it just runs it all the time. One thing you may want to do is play around with, if you don't want this to go all the time, one thing like if you're bringing in resources and you're trying to make a couple different things, you don't want maybe all the aluminum to get eaten by adaptive frames if you have a supply line of this. So you might want to play around with these powered switches. I'm gonna put one on. I'll just put on the inside for each of these. I'm not gonna make one down here because if these are powered off, it's not gonna flow down. So powered switches need a couple things. It needs whatever's being shut off, powered switch, of course, and it actually needs a power source. So I'm just gonna make these just for this video. Make one on each side. These things require 5. So if I zoom in a little bit, this isn't intuitive, but you can't link stuff from this view. There's no, like up here, if you go here, you have a create output link. These don't have, this one does, of course, but you need to link these 3 items. So you actually have to get out of this. You go here and you can hold A, you actually go over here to your fabricator and you need to actually wire it. So if you hold A on a controller, it's not even one of these, it's hidden. You have to go all the way to wire. Select that and you wire it to here. It'll attach a wire here. Okay, and then you do the same thing to over here, your power. So it's kind of, this one actually does show it because it doesn't have an output. You link it here. So now I'm gonna do the same thing over here. Again, you can just kind of see me quickly doing it. A wire to there, and a wire from a power source. Doesn't need to be solar, it can be wind or the helium generator. So now you can see that it's still, they're not full. Well, this one is. I'm going to take it just so that it drops. And so this one, since that was full, it started filling up in the default one. So you can see it's still being made. So then I can shut this down and it stops making. You can see it kind of stops shaking. You can see this one's kind of shaking a little bit. Again, I can shut this down. So that will then stop all your resources being fed here if like you have enough comm relays or you don't want to make any more adaptive frames or whatever you're making. Just, it looks cooler, it's a little more fancy, but again, totally optional. Yeah, I just wanted to show that, just the quick video on just the basics of manufacturing small things. As you scale up and invest in more perks, you'll have access to more and more things. I believe you need Outpost Engineering 2 and then 3 to make the larger fabricators. So something you could build towards if you enjoy doing this. So yeah, rank 2 gets you this compound fabricator. I can scroll kind of through these. You can kind of see the control rods, drilling rigs, all these different resources that you can make out of these. And then rank 3, you can make these sort of things that are needed for either crafting or outpost stuff, like the extractors. The extractors need a couple of, or one of these each, basically. So you'll either have to make them or buy them if vendors actually sell these. I think they do. It's just very rare. So it might just be easier just to manufacture them. So now I hope you learn a little bit about the basics of manufacturing in Outposts. So if you enjoy these types of videos, please like and subscribe for future Starfield videos. See you in the next one.